Boeing continuing a recent run of good news. Dreamliner repair plans and union contracts get closer to reality, we think. Ritika Gupta's here to break down what is, one of the best performers on the S&P 500 today.
Yes, Caroline, Boeing actually has had quite a string of good news lately, and now the FAA coming out and saying that it has approved the inspection of those 787 Dreamliners. So that puts them on track for resuming that delivery that had been halted, as you know, since the end of 2020. And as a result, they'd had a big backlog of those Dreamliners, those wide-body jets, about 120 of them. They're ready, sitting there parked and waiting to go, of course, and that has really hampered on their profits. They've been struggling recently because, again, waiting for that resumption of the Dreamliners. Now, the second bit of good news is that they averted a strike. About 2,500 employees, so that would have halted production for the fighter jets, about 3 of their defense plants here in the US. Still, though, that vote, it will indeed happen. It's just being postponed to Wednesday, but it does still give them a bit of a buffer. And of course, that is quite important because unions represent about a third of all of their employees, one of the highest for industrial companies out there. And, you know, Boeing, it is doing well on that track to its recovery. They're seeing annual deliveries have been climbing recently, and they're actually on pace to or outpace 2021. So that would be the best year going back to 2018 for them.
You talk a lot about some of the 737 MAX, the regulators, the involvement now of getting part of a clear to go. But what about investors? Because it was interesting that you noticed year to date, investors maybe aren't just buying it just yet.
Yes, Taylor. So it feels like investors still need a bit of convincing. As you mentioned, the stock down 15% still on a year-to-date basis. And that's, you know, but if you look at it from June, that was when it bottomed. It's come a long way since there. And as Caroline mentioned, the best performer today, and actually the second best performer in the S&P 500 since mid-June. And if I get a bit technical here, though, when we look at the RSI, the relative strength indicator, that has now gone to above 70. So that overbought territory. So we will have to just see if it maybe retreats from here or if it continues on that upward trajectory.